Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and stories from around the world. I'm your host, Walter, and we're glad you're joining us today. We're starting off with a somber note as reports are emerging from Iran of a significant escalation in executions. According to human rights groups, over 1,000 people have been executed in Iran so far this year, with half of those being for drug-related offenses. This number is staggering, and it's sparked outrage from the international community. The Iranian government has defended its use of the death penalty, saying it's only used for the most severe crimes. However, human rights experts argue that the executions are often carried out after unfair trials, with allegations of torture and mistreatment. Just yesterday, Iran announced that it had executed a man accused of spying for Israel. The man, identified as Bahman Chobi Asla, was reportedly a database expert who worked on sensitive telecommunications projects. His execution is the 11th this year for someone convicted of spying for Israel, with 10 of those executions taking place since the 12-day war between Iran and Israel in June. The United Nations has weighed in on the issue, with special rapporteurs expressing their alarm at the scale of executions in Iran. They're calling on the international community to take concrete action to pressure Iran to halt this wave of executions. It's a complex and sensitive issue, and we'll continue to follow it closely. We'll also be exploring other perspectives and insights from experts and those affected by these events. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into the world of politics today, and our middle segment is packed with intriguing discussions from the Labour Party's annual conference in Liverpool. As we explore the various proposals and ideas being floated, it's essential to maintain a balanced perspective. So let's dive right in. The conference has been abuzz with strategies to combat the rising popularity of Reform UK, led by Nigel Farage. One innovative suggestion came from Labour MP Joe White, who proposed that the government should fit solar panels to pensioner bungalows. This initiative aims to provide tangible benefits from Labour's climate policies, not just for those on benefits, but also for working people and pensioners. By doing so, the party hopes to reconnect with voters who feel disillusioned and are turning towards Reform UK. Energy Secretary Ed Miliband has pledged that his net zero policies will lower energy bills by $300 by 2030, primarily through the adoption of cheaper renewables over expensive fossil fuels. However, with energy bills continuing to rise due to gas cost spikes, there's a sense of urgency for Labour to demonstrate the practical impact of their policies. Joe White emphasized the need for swift action, suggesting that grants for heat pumps and solar panels should be more widely available, including to middle-income households. This discussion highlights the challenges Labour faces in regaining trust and appealing to a broader demographic. The party recognizes the importance of addressing climate change while also being mindful of the immediate financial pressures faced by many voters. By proposing practical solutions like retrofitting homes with energy-efficient technologies, Labour aims to show that its policies can have a direct, positive impact on people's lives. It's also worth noting the concern about the spread of misinformation on climate change, particularly through social media. Joe White pointed out that this can lead to increased skepticism and even push people towards far-right ideologies. In response, there's a call for the progressive movement to build its own ecosystem of influencers and content creators who can effectively communicate the benefits of left-wing policies and counteract misleading information. As we consider these developments, it's clear that Labour is engaged in a critical period of self-reflection and strategy development. The party's ability to resonate with voters on key issues like climate change, energy costs, and economic policy will be crucial in its efforts to regain ground against Reform UK and other political challengers. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block, folks. We're wrapping up today's show with a story that's been making headlines around the world. The conflict in the Middle East has taken a devastating turn, with the United Nations Commission of Inquiry reporting that Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. This news has sparked intense debate and protests globally. Now, let's break it down. The Labour Party in the UK has just voted to fully suspend arms trade with Israel, citing concerns over human rights violations and the use of weaponry in the conflict. This decision comes after a heated debate at the party's conference, where delegates tabled two emergency motions on the Middle East. On one hand, supporters of the motion argue that it's morally imperative to stop supplying arms to a country accused of committing atrocities. They say it's a matter of taking a stand against injustice and promoting peace in the region. On the other hand, critics argue that this move could damage relations with Israel and undermine efforts to find a peaceful solution to the conflict. They also point out that the UK is not one of Israel's main arms suppliers, and that other countries like the US, Germany, and Italy are more significant players in the arms trade. It's essential to acknowledge the complexity of this issue and the deeply held convictions on both sides. The Israeli government has strongly rejected the UN report, calling it distorted and false. Meanwhile, Palestinian leaders have welcomed the Labour Party's decision, seeing it as a step towards accountability and justice. As we close out today's show, it's crucial to remember that this is an ongoing story with many facets and perspectives. We'll continue to follow developments and provide updates as more information becomes available. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.